In this part of the video, I'm going to discuss how to deploy a sharded MongoDB cluster. So at first, we need to create a Mongo AMI for the sharded cluster. So we starting from the Ubuntu server, and just keep in mind to open 22 for the SSH purpose, and 27017, 27018, and 27019 for different purpose of this sharded cluster. And so here is our so I launched this Mongo AMI, which is just for to build the image purpose. So once I log into this instance and just install the MongoDB, install the version 4.0 and check the version. So we have this 4.0 Mongo installed, and create a key file which is required for all the 4.0 MongoDB cluster. And I put it in this so should be right here. We have the key file. It's permission denied, so sudo vi key file. And just run those commands to make this key file available. And so for all the later launched instance, will all have this same key file, so they could communicate with each other using this key file for the authentication purpose. And to build the sharded cluster, we need 3 config server replica set for the production environment. We need at least 3. For the test, you could only launch 1. And we need the sharded replica set. So in this test, I'm using 2 shards, so each shard will have 3 instances in the replica set. So we have totally 6 instances, so 3 instances per shard. And also we need the Mongo's instance as a router to connect to the sharded replica set. So that's in total we need launch. So here is the instance we don't need. We need 1, 2, 3 config running, and we need the 6 in total instance for sharding, and we need 1 for the shard router. So in total is 10 instances. And also we need a jump box. So the jump box allows the external visit to the Mongo cluster. Okay, let's start from the config set. So let's go to. So we need 3 shell script to launch the different ones. So let's start from the launch the config. So to launch the config, we just remote execute this command using the SSH to remote launch the config cluster, and here, which is the command to run to start the MongoD, the server. And using the fork is important if you want remote access that. And you need to specify here this replica set is a config server, and also you need to give the name of the config server and the key file which we just created, and the DB path, also the bind IP. So here bind IP I just open it to all the external access, since we're using the key file as authentication. And we're going to launch 3 of them. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And after execute that by this, I already executed that, so I don't need to do that anymore. I'm going to go to the want to add. Going to any of this instance inside the config replica set, and try to see if the Mongo is start there. So you could find your job is running right here, the MongoD. And let's connect to the Mongo shell using this command. Remember the port is 27019 for the config server. And we need to initialize the replica set for the config server. And I already did that, so I could just check the status. So now I have 3 members and all healthy, and the first one is primary. The another 2 is secondary. Okay, that's how we set up the config replica set. And let's start the sharded replica set. So we're still using the remote access to do so. So here is the shell script I'm using to create the replica set. So after you launch 3 instances per shard first, so you need 6 total for 2 shards, and follow all the details in the journal, and using this script, and the detail of the script is also in the journal. So that is for the shard 1. You need to specify this is for the shard server, it's important, and the replica set is shard 1. And I have 3, 1, 2, 3 is for the shard 1, and another 3, 1, 2, 3 for the shard 2. All others are same, similar to the how to launch the config server. Remember to use a fork if you want to remote access it, and don't forget the key file. Okay, and let's SSH into 1. Let's see if that is running. So it's running here, the MongoD. And let's connect to the Mongo shell, and the port is 27018. That is for the default port for my the shard server. This one is the secondary, but we could just check. So status. And the name of this replica set is shard1, and they have 3 members: 0, which is secondary but is healthy, and ID1 is a primary, is healthy, and ID2. Okay, and I could just log into the shard 2 to do that. So the things are already initialized. Actually, you just need to use this script to initialize your replica set for both different shards and check the status. And so now we have our sharded replica set ready. We have the config replica set ready. And now we need to create an instance for the Mongos and connect the Mongos to the sharded replica. So here you just launch a router instance using the same AMI we just created before, and make sure you open the same ports, the 22.270.17, 270.18, and 270.19. Here, the script we're using to launch the router is like this. So here is sudo mongos. It's not mongod, it's mongos. And it's important to initialize this one, transition to auth, which is just for development purpose. You don't need to worry about authentication at this moment, and you could add the users to the Mongos later to make things more secure, and using the fork, and just list all your config set, the IP address and port. And once you've done that, let's SSH to our Mongos 72. And once you've done that, we connect to our Mongo shell. Okay, so here, the Mongos is using the port 27017, which is default port for the MongoDB. So now we're using Mongos, and let's check the current shard status. I already add 2 shards into this into the database. So I have shard 1 and shard 2 already. So how to add that? Just using the script like this, the sh.add shard, and you have the shard 2, and any members in the shard 2 is fine. Just list here and make sure you have the right port, since the shard database is default port is 27018. Make sure you make the port right, otherwise you cannot connect to your data shard. Okay, and you add 2 shards and you check the current status, you will have the same result as mine. So to test that, at first you need to just still in this Mongo shell. At first you need to create a new database. I'm using the Sharding test database. So you just use that and enable the sharding for this database. Enable sharding. And since right now our this BIOS collection is empty, so you're able to just using this command to shard the collection, the certain collection, and make sure which key you're choosing to as the shard key. So we're choosing the ID as a shard key using the hashed method. And here is the command you could use to check the distribution between the shards. We're just using the BIOS collection from previous lab, just insert the collection into the database. And let's see what we have now. second we need to use shard test. Okay, now should be fine. Okay, so now they said total the shard 1 contains about 40% of the data, the shard 2 contains about 60% of data, and 50% of documents is in cluster, and 50% of documents is in another cluster. So that's the result for our experiment. So it shows that BIOS collection is sharded into different shards, 1 and 2, and using the ID. It's pretty even distributed between the shards.